Hi there, post-harvest friends, and welcome to our series on the post-harvest physiology and handling of fresh fruit, vegetables, and cut flowers, presented to you by the Post-Harvest Academy. My name is Charles Whitehead, and I am your post-harvest professor, helping you to better understand how to handle fresh fruit, vegetables, and cut flowers after harvest. In part 4 of this series, we are going to look at the chemical complexity of fresh fruit, vegetables, and cut flowers. Fresh fruit and vegetables consist of numerous different chemicals that give distinct attributes to assorted types of fruit and vegetables. We must therefore have a thorough knowledge of their distinct chemical compositions. Let's look at some of the reasons why we must have this knowledge. Firstly, to guarantee supply of high quality products. Quality attributes such as color, flavor, and texture are determined by chemical composition. Secondly, to explain aberrations in attributes that occur in fresh products. Such aberrations are caused by undesirable changes in chemical composition. Thirdly, to know that the chemical composition of different fruits and vegetable types can vary considerably, which give them their distinct qualities. Fourthly, to understand that chemical composition may vary according to production area, climate, soil type, and cultivation practices. Fifthly, to know that seasonal differences from one year to another affect chemical composition. And lastly, to understand that the different chemical compounds contribute to the complex nature of the different fruit and vegetables. There are numerous chemicals found in fruit and vegetables, and they can be divided into two categories. The first category is inorganic substances. These substances do not contain carbon. They include water, gases, mineral elements, and their salts. The second category is organic compounds. These compounds do contain carbon, and examples of these compounds are carbohydrates, amino acids, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, pigments, plant hormones, flavonoids, terpenoids, organic acids, flavorants, and much more. In this first session of part 4 of our series, we are going to look at the inorganic compounds found in fresh plant tissues. The first of the inorganic substances that we are going to examine is water. Water is the single most abundant compound found in fresh produce. It makes up 95 to 98% of their fresh weight. Variations in cultivation practices and climatic conditions can cause variation in moisture content of a specific cultivar. Excessive moisture loss results in wilting and shriveling and therefore affects the quality of the product. Moisture is lost mostly by transpiration. This is the loss of water vapor through stomata or other structures such as lenticels. The rate of moisture loss is influenced by environmental factors such as temperature, the percentage relative humidity of the atmosphere, and light intensity. Commodities must be harvested at full turgor during the cooler period of day to retain crispness. Excessive moisture loss will cause fresh fruit and vegetables to wilt. This table shows the maximum moisture loss before wilting occurred in various fruits and vegetables. In apples, the maximum water loss before wilting is 7% of the fresh weight. In grape, it's 5%. In nectarines, 21%. And so forth. In vegetables, we see that the maximum moisture loss for asparagus is 8%, beans is 5%, broccoli is 4%, cauliflower is 7%, celery 10%, lettuce leaves are 3 to 5%, and tomato 4 to 7%. Water performs numerous important functions in fresh fruit and vegetables. Water serves as a reagent in many reactions. The higher the water content, the higher the metabolic activity of the cell. Water also provides mechanical support to the tissue. Water is incompressible, and tissues at full turgidity are firm and crisp. Water is also a universal solvent for chemicals. More chemicals will dissolve in water than in any other solvent. Water is the transport medium for minerals and organic substances in the plant, and water controls tissue temperature. Water also controls gas exchange by regulating the opening and closing of stomata. This table shows the water content of some freshly harvested fruit and vegetables. The moisture content of apple is around 84%, for avos 76%, for blueberries 83%, and cantaloupes 93%, for grapefruit 89%, and for kiwi fruit about 82%, and for watermelons about 93%. The water content of asparagus is about 93%, for green beans 89%, for Brussels sprouts 85%, for lettuce about 95%, for potato about 78%, for summer squash about 94%, and for tomatoes also about 94%. This picture shows the shriveling and accelerated senescence of an apple that lost more than 7% of its moisture. This picture shows what happens to a nectarine when it loses more than 11% of its moisture. The fruit shrivels and becomes very dull. The same happens to tangerines that lose more than 5% of its moisture. Mineral nutrients from the second group of inorganic substances found in fruit, vegetables, and cut flowers. Crop plants require carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water, plus certain essential mineral nutrients from the soil for normal growth. These elements can be divided into three groups, namely the macronutrients, which include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, calcium, and magnesium. The micronutrients are required in large amounts, and they make up in excess of 10 millimoles per kilogram of the dry weight of the product. The second group is the micronutrients, or trace elements, and they are required in relative small quantities, usually about less than 10 millimoles per kilogram of the dry weight. The micronutrients include zinc, manganese, copper, boron, molybdenum, iron, chlorine, and nickel. The third group of elements, essential elements, is known as the beneficial nutrients. They include cobalt, sodium, silicon, and selenium. These elements are required by some plants, but not by all crop plants generally. A nutrient is regarded as essential when it is required to complete the normal life cycle of the plant, or when it forms part of some essential molecule in the plant, or when it participates in or regulates certain physical phenomena such as the opening and closing of stomata. Mineral uptake is affected by climate, soil, irrigation, pests, and diseases. The mineral content affects the post-harvest quality, and mineral deficiencies will therefore result in deficiency symptoms that affect the quality as well as the nutritive value of the commodity. Magnesium deficiency usually causes interveinal chlorosis and yellowing. Here we see the interveinal chlorosis of the banana leaf, because magnesium is essential for chlorophyll formation. Calcium deficiency in apple fruit causes a disorder known as bitter pit. The pitting on the surface of the fruit is caused by the death and collapse of the subepidermal cells, as we see here. Calcium deficiency in tomato fruit causes blossom end rot. And potassium deficiency in cut flowers such as chrysanthemum causes marginal necrosis of the leaves. Nitrogen deficiency in plants usually results in thin woody stems and chlorotic small leaves. The older leaf show these symptoms first because nitrogen is a mobile element that is transported from the older leaves to the younger leaves when it is deficient. In session 2 of part 4 in the series, we will look at the organic compounds found in fresh fruit, vegetables, and cut flowers. For more information on specific commodities, please visit our website at www.postharvestacademy.net.